Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuhu. Sallallahu ala Muhammad. Allahumma salli ala Sayyidina Muhammad wa ala ali Sayyidina Muhammad. This video, not just this video, but hopefully we can do a series, but let's get straight to it. Sufism and the occult. So, in my experience in Sufism, and also studying other spiritual paths, Vedic science, tapping into different mantras. One that I can say is that all the frequencies is the same, but they separate themselves into individual consciousness. Now, Sufism is, like I would say, one of the most right-hand paths that you can follow. And why do I say that? It's because, we're in this new age, time, spirituality, and all these different terminologies. And everybody wants to talk about shadow work. Now, as far as with the shadow work and certain things that you have to do at certain times for yourself and for your mental health and your well-being, a lot of people, to me, have become pacified with just the minor benefits of what they get out of their shadow work. Now, in Sufism, there's a spiritual practice that we call zikr, which in Arabic means the remembrance of the source that all life came from. Okay. Now, within that practice of the zikr and constant remembrance, there are things that start to happen into your inner reality, biologically, biochemically. Because these vibrations from these zikrs and from these mantras, when they done repetitively at a high level in number, not just on the full moon night, not when the moon is waning or waxing and you trying to manifest something off of that frequency, but when you in constant remembrance of that reality, what starts to happen to you physically on the plane of the soul, like I said again, biochemically. And what I'm referring to is that these sounds hold a certain level of reality and energy. So what starts to happen in your blood and your cells, they start to get altered and shift into that same vibration and frequency and reality, which in return raises your consciousness, purifies your perception, so you can be able to see what's exactly going on around you, so you can make the proper discernments and make the proper choices. Why I'm correlating Sufism to the occult? Because when one starts to tap into the deeper inner realities, these zikrs and remembrances hold higher quantum intelligences that's connected to the source. And in return, certain things start to become revealed to you. Not just the things that you need to know in your life and, my psychic ability and this and that, but no, your vision. Even astrally, you'll be able to tap into certain aspects of dimension and planes within the own portal of your soul. Now, in occult practices, when you're doing any type of banishing work, when you're doing any type of, setting up your ritual, there's always preparatory work that has to be done that secures that. What I realized within Sufism and also tapping into deeper occult practices, that even when I'm doing the 2 rak'ah salat, I'm making my intentions, I'm purifying myself, I'm opening myself up to a certain type of aspect of light. Now, this light is a whole different quantum reality of light that's embedded within the cellular system. So, like I said again, there are certain things that are done in preparation to going into deeper aspects of the occult. For me, when I'm practicing zikr, when I practice the salat in connection into going into deeper practices, this is most definitely the foundation, that's needed to actually open up the soul, open up the heart chakra, open up the third eye, into being able to even mentally comprehend and digest what you are receiving from those deeper occult practices. One thing, not only within my studies, but also within the practice, I understood that even the initiation of taking the shahada, and I'm not putting that out there like everybody need to go take their shahada to get deeper, but no, I'm explaining this from this perspective. So one who has true interest into diving deeper, they will understand the intricacies of it. It's like a diksha in the Vedic tradition. So when one takes their shahada, the shahadu an la ilaha illallah, shahadu anna Muhammadan abduhu wa rasulullah, when you really taking that with true intention and understanding that oneness, you are also basically being given a key to travel through the astral realms in a certain type of density and form. Now, everybody can spiritually travel. Don't get it mistaken. I'm not saying that. But what I'm saying is that the preparation within the deeper layers of the Sufi practice will open you up to even deeper realms when you tap into the different aspects of your occult practices. Now, we have a lot of Sufi masters and a lot of Sufi sheikhs throughout history and time that also understood not only just the meaning behind the words, but the frequency which is embedded within the gematria. Now, when we understand this frequency that's embedded within these verses, and we are chanting these names and these frequencies constantly, you got people that's chanting La ilaha illallah. You got people chanting La hawla wa la quwwata Allah billahi wa huwa al-aliyyul azim. You got people zikkering Allahumma salli ala Sayyidina Muhammad al-Fatihi lima uglika wa khatimi lima sabaka nasr al-haq bil-haq wa hadi illa siratika mustaqim wa ala alihi haqqa qadrihi wa miqdarihi al-azim. You have people that are chanting this, and this has been zikrs that has been chanted over hundreds and periods of time, which in return creates a spiritual consciousness. It gives birth to a spirit that's embedded within the consciousness of the verses or the mantra or the zikr. This is what we call in Sufism a ruhani. That also in Vedic tradition, this is a level where you will gain mantra siddhi. Why am I bringing that up even more? To understand the deeper layers of what starts to happen, why you start to receive certain information, why certain things start to connect in a certain type of way. Because literally, when you open yourself up to those frequencies, you are giving birth to a spirit that you have created from the repetitions of the mantra and the zikr, that will become a spiritual aid within your practice. And that's something that we can even more go into deeper. I just wanted to put that, put that in that format, because also, and shout out to my big brother Terrain, for putting the fire behind me, you know, shout out to Big Brother Terrain, the Dark Lord, all his disciples, and everyone that's rocking with the gang. Okay? So, as we dive deeper into these verses and these mantras and we understand the unseen, what we would call in Arabic the ghaib, the unseen world, the unseen beings that we are constantly surrounded around in these multi-dimensional parallel realms adjacent to ours. Now, when talking about the jinn, there are many thousands of stories about the jinn. And also, I just wanted to be known that there are different many breeds of jinn. So that term itself extends also way deeper than what a lot of people even realize. Yes, it's talking about all different types of spiritual beings that is unseen to the human eye, but it's also a specific race of beings that's created from the smokeless fire. In the Quran, there is a verse which I would recommend those who want to tap into this aspect of quantum light work and quantum shadow work, is a surah in the Quran that's called the Jinn. In this surah, it is spoken that there was a group of jinn that overheard the Quran. And from him or them overhearing the Quran, they bear witness that they basically took their shahada. They bear witness that there was no other frequency in reality except for that one reality, which is Allah, that manifests itself as all of these things that we have given names to. And that through that reality of how they receive it, they bear witness that the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam was the messenger of that divine reality. So why do I say that? Because when we tap in, because there are good jinn and there are bad jinn. So when with the good jinn, and then you got what they call the shayateen. A'udhu billahi minash shaitanir rajim. So we seek refuge in the divine source, okay, from the haterade, from the malefic effects, from all of those frequencies that try to knock you off your focus. Not only in life and in your day-to-day lives, but also in your spiritual work. You can get into a high level of zikr, a high level of mantra, and there will be things that will try to distract you from achieving what you need to achieve within that practice. Okay? Like I said again, also the jinn in correlation to that verse and understanding that when you are opening yourself up to those realms and you are pushing yourself in a certain type of frequency, you will have aid from the good jinn. You will receive messages from the good jinn. You will also be distracted by the negative frequencies of negative jinn. And also these lower frequencies, these lower vibrational imposter spirits, you understand, feed off of that hatred. They feed off of that jealousy. They feed off of that drama. They feed off of all of those type of vibrations that come from, whether it be the mental or the heart frequency, right? From the body itself. So that's why I'm bringing this up in the practice of Sufism in the deeper aspects of the occult. No matter what tradition you in, Sufism, I said Sufism, I'm talking about Sufism. Like Ifa, other African indigenous traditions. Also, other deeper occult practices that people may don't think that Sufism could stand next to and correlate with. Because I am someone who also practice Sufism. Not practice, but live Sufism as a way of life. Islam itself is a way of life. The Deen al-Fitra, okay, the Sanatullah is the natural system, the biological science and anatomy of the human body, of the what's above, what's below, the trees, nature, the water cycle. All of these things is embedded within the Deen al-Fitra, because these are part of the signs and the realities that one is trying to show you in connection to yourself. So yes, wanted to make this brief, but also give some type of detail and essential understanding on the connections between Sufism, that spiritual foundation and preparation in connection to the occult, or what some would call the left-hand path. So yes, me being able to practice Sufism and go down to a Vedic temple and practice quote-unquote Hinduism, or what we would call Sanatana Dharma. You know, to others, that is complete quote-unquote shirk. That is, oh, you're a heretic. Oh my goodness, you are doing something so haram. But even that within itself, of me being able to practice Sufism and also practice the Vedic science, the Sanatana Dharma, with ease, you know, is also a deep occult reality. And there's a science behind that a lot of us have throughout the baby with the bathwater, because of certain things that come with the aspects of history and things like that. But you have to do your knowledge, and you have to understand that if it wasn't for a lot of our foundations of spiritual knowledge and inner realities, the levels of spiritual in-depthness and fortification wouldn't be truly understood. So yes, you have the Ruhani that is created from the mantra siddhi. That is created from the mantra siddhi. And these are spirits, if you will, that is created from over hundreds and hundreds of years of these verses being recited. And within that verse and within that gematria of it, there is a seed. Just like how they say in the Vedic tradition, a bij mantra, there's a seed in it, and when it's given birth, it becomes conscious. See? So Sufism and the occult, the left-hand path, the right-hand path. You know, the Sufi path is also another level of taking your shadow work even deeper and far beyond what you probably be even believing that you're taking that process. A lot of people is so afraid of that interchange or the work that they have to do that they just philosophize upon philosophy, but they truly never actually really do the work. And then they may think and perceive that since they have done one thing, which, okay, in your life, it all adds up at the end of the day, you know, in the spiritual bank account. But this is a constant work. This is every day. You know, if you constantly have migraines and headaches, oh, I need a Tylenol. You just take the Tylenol with no problem. Because you know that when you take that Tylenol, in some minutes, or however it works, that headache will start to go away. So when we understand the medicine and the inner realities behind these verses and these levels of understanding, we'll start to use this medicine in a whole different form, in a whole different way. And believe me, it's not all sunflowers and bees and butterflies and all of that either. Because when some of us, our hearts really have to be poured to the forefront. It has to be wrung out like a towel. You know, a lot of us are still holding on to preconceived notions and false perceptions that has nothing to do with your own spiritual growth. Like I say again, we do have unseen forces that is against us in our spiritual process and how we're trying to rise up far beyond this physical plane. Like I say, the jinn itself is a whole expanded, a whole expansion of different types of beings that's amongst their own ranking, you know. And to say that all jinn are quote unquote per se negative, even though they have a certain type of natural cognition because of their being, that's spiritual, like what I call spiritual racism. Like you calling all black people niggas, like you call Astaghfirullah. So may Allah give us that reality, that source, that divine energy. Because like I said again, in Surah Jinn, there was a group or a pack of jinn that overheard the Quranic verses, and they themselves had took shahada. Okay? And became musalam. Okay? So what am I even saying? That when you're utilizing the Sufi practices within your deeper occult practices in your preparation, okay, when you start to rise up the ranks and you start to deal with multi-dimensional beings and you astro traveling and you start to see these different beings, it's a lot of beings that you will have to spiritually destroy and clear your path from certain things that have been attached to you over a time that you cannot see in the physical, but through high levels of zikr and weirds. What is the weird is the formula and a lengthening of verses that's formulated in a certain type of way that allows one to basically transcend one's level of consciousness. Also builds a spiritual force field. Multiple benefits. It opens up the heart in connection straight to the divine source. It breaks through certain barriers and processes that others have to go through when one is practicing lengthening of prayers constantly. Because when you're constantly in repetition of it, it's like you're sharpening the sword. You had a dull sword, and then as you continue to sharpen, that La ilaha illallah is different than when that person says La ilaha illallah. Why? Because it's the wielder of the La ilaha illallah. Okay? So yes, you have multi-dimensional beings. Some on a low vibration that want to siphon off of your energy, that want to deter you from the path, that want to actually have your ass go crazy and utilize your consciousness to exist. So this is why the Sufi path and understanding the deeper levels of the zikr, like I say, the wird, in Vedic science, the mantra siddhi, and once you gain that, like I said, and even in certain levels of practice, doesn't mean that you have to chant it always at a high level. It's about how you chant it. You know, because you can gain mantra siddhi from a low number, long as the attention and the heart vibration is there and you taking the true preparation and you're not trying to rush. And this is why a lot of a lot of us fail, and a lot of people fail because they always rushing to try to just gain the benefit. And in that is a trick that the jinns use psychologically for you to continue to stay in within that half-truth. Sufism and the occult. I'm gonna leave it right there for now. If anyone comes across this video and they have any questions, don't be afraid to like I say, to message me on here. You can also message me and contact me on WhatsApp at 410-274-9887. Okay, if you got any questions in connection to the deeper practices, or you want to get into the deeper practices and fortification within Sufism, and also in adjacent to how that balances and work out when you're dealing with other different occult practices, whether it be Kabbalistic, whether it be like I say, the Necronomicon, whether it be angelic magic, whether it be dealing with the gematria, numbers behind names, and the significance of those frequencies, whether if it's dealing with the ruhaniya, the spirits that's embedded and created from these litany of words, and also what we would call the ruqya, which is the Islamic Sufi Rike, being able to use the Quranic verses for healing, utilizing these mantras and consecrating certain type of items, and embedding the spirit of those verses, the Ruhani, within certain items and talismans. Okay, this is the high level and a deeper level to the inner realities of the Islamic practice. Because some people walk, like I say, people can walk around with guns, people can walk around with knives, weapons. But you walk around with your zikr beads on, you walking around with these symbols on. You walk around with these symbols on, everybody looking at you like you crazy. They looking at you like you crazy. Okay? They looking at you like you crazy. But you know what's going on. So it's about being in the world and not of it. You understand and understand? Because there is most definitely an inner world and a reality to the false aspects of this dimension that a lot of these lower frequencies try to keep you away from understanding, whatever spiritual practice it is. On the left-hand path, Sufism, dealing with the quantum reality of light within you, is that torch that you will need when you're walking through those gates, when you are transcending through different realms, when you got certain energies written upon your aura. When you're in these realms, these beings will recognize that. You still have to raise up your energy. You still have to be on a certain type of level. It just won't happen. This takes time. It takes time. But also, it takes true intent and proper spiritual preparation. Now, within that being said, I will say assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuhu. Hit me up. Let's build. Let's tap into this Sufi mystical journey. Let's get on our flying carpets. Okay, and go through the 7 seas of the celestial bodies of our own inner reality. La ilaha illallah Muhammadur wa Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam.